They made a lot of improvements in Drupal in the area of accessibility. I assume you also documented all these things and started to create guidelines for people in terms of how to think about accessibility. So if anyone out there is still new or maybe just got an idea that, oh, maybe accessibility is something that I should think about, whatever the thing that I'm working on for, where would they go find and some guidelines and practices that the Drupal community already worked out and figured out and put together?
So the best starting point is going to any page on Drupal.org and going down to the footer where you'll find that there's an accessibility link, as there should be in any project. And that accessibility link goes to a page that has links to our handbook. It has links to the accessibility style guide. It has links to how to go off and submit an issue and what the issues are, and some modules that may help you go off and enhance your Drupal site. It's really the hub of where people should go. But I've also not limited the work I've done on documentation just to Drupal. I've also tried to, and also just to be clear, I'm not really a documentation person. Words are something that I struggle to go off and to write down, and to, like, documentation does not come naturally. And when I find AI documentation is like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier to have like comprehensive documentation written by an AI than it is for me to try and even begin to craft like some general ideas. Like I'm not good at writing documentation, and really value those people who are. But in the meantime, there's AI, which is so much better than what I can do. But I'm involved also with the World Wide Web Consortium, as I said, and the one of the interesting pieces is looking at the accessible roles and responsibilities mapping project, which is trying to go off and say, let's take all of these WCAG success criteria and how do we split these up to find out, or to assess, to evaluate, like, who's responsible for what. These are the standards that the World Wide Web Consortium, or the W3C, implements around web standards, and those web standards are used for mobile sites. They're the most they're the most commonly used standard for evaluating digital accessibility, even though they're not necessarily they're not written for things like computer software or native mobile applications, but this is this is the standard for the web. So if you can take these WCAG issues and break them down into the individual roles and responsibilities that digital teams have, then you can say, as a front-end engineer, you don't have to learn all of it. Like, you don't need to know color contrast, but you do need to know these issues. Like, if there's areas if there's problems with area, if there's problems with form construction, if there's problems with, like, that's on you. That's your definition of quality is going to come from knowing these issues. And same with the visual designers. Like, a visual designer needs to know color contrast. And if you don't know how color contrast works, and you don't know how to manage the focus styles and how to make sure that you, if you don't know those basic things, then no, you're not doing your job. You have to go back and learn more in order to provide a quality service as a visual designer in 2026. And that doesn't mean going back to school. Like, there's so many free resources on accessibility. There's webinars, there's blogs, there's courses you can take. Like, there's so many easy ways and free ways to learn how to do this. There may not be time, like, everyone's busy, but if you don't know, you can ask to learn. You should take time to go off and say, I need to brush up on how I can implement WCAG 2.2.2, because I don't know what the new implications are for me as a UX person, and I understand that there's some elements that are part of that I need to manage, but I need help to understand this, to keep up with the standards, so that I can do a good job. So I've been working with people who are trying to document that and make that easier for people to understand, so that you're not just sort of saying, just memorize this boring, memorize all of WCAG and then let's get to work, because there's a lot of it that just is not relevant to you on a regular basis. And if it's not related to what you're trying to do for your job, then and if you don't have a process to sort of manage groups of teams that have where there's mutual where different roles have a responsibility for implementing the success criteria, you're going to get lost. It has to be something that's real and tangible that you're practicing on a regular basis as part of your job, if it's going to be something that is maintained properly over time.